So you can get started reading by just asking people that you know, what books would you recommend or who's your favorite author? And it's a really cool question to ask people because it tells you a lot about that person. So if you ask me, hey, what books am I into and what authors and who do I like to read from? I guess kind of weird how I said that, but I love cyberpunk. I love deep science fiction. My favorite authors would be Peter F. Hamilton and William Gibson. William Gibson's Neuromancer was like my first real introduction to cyberpunk as a genre, and Peter F. Hamilton's Night's Dawn trilogy was like my first real introduction to deep science fiction. So why develop this skill reading and why maintain this skill? Because when you can read, you can think critically about some piece of text that's in front of you. And I think that that's a really crucial skill when it comes to practical things like understanding a textbook. If you've read, even if it's science fiction, it doesn't have to be a textbook. It could be Little House on the Prairie, whatever. It doesn't have to be a textbook. If you sit there with some text and it has information that you have to interpret, you have to understand what the author is trying to convey to you. You have to ask yourself questions about what the author is saying to you. Then it's very natural to start learning from a textbook. It's a very natural progression. And I recommend it because even though I'm a very visual learner, I love YouTube, I love the internet, I think that there's a lot of wonderful resources out there for visual learners. Even though I'm that type of person, there's so much more information that's already written down. So it's worth it. It's worth it because you're going to start to have this ability to understand from everyone who died. I'm sorry to say it, but like all the people who died. So Archimedes, Marcus Aurelius, any of those people who died, they all have books. They all have books that you can learn from. They're not making YouTube videos. You're not going to go find an original Plato YouTube video. So you're going to find other people's interpretations of his work. You're going to find videos about his work, videos about him, but you're not going to be able to read this person's words. And it's so incredible to sit there and be able to read the words from someone who lived so long ago. And in Marcus Aurelius' case, he was a Roman emperor, and not a lot has changed. You read the quotes from Marcus Aurelius in Meditations, and it's just like nothing has really changed. He said at one point, don't ask how to be a good man, just go out and be one. And I found that to be really simple and really profound and just something that that guides my life. That's like a quote that will guide my life. Like just go do it. Don't wait for someone to give you the example. Just try and just do it. And that came from a guy who died over 2,000 years ago. So I think that reading is a wonderful skill, and I'd like to kind of explain how to develop it because I never really had it when I was younger. I started to develop this skill, incrementally. Every day I'd sit down and I'd say, okay, 15 minutes before I go to bed, because I got nothing going on at that time. I got nothing going on, nothing stopping me, unless I could just come home and I pass out. And if that's the case, fine, you don't have to read. But if I come home and I got time before I go to bed, I'm going to sit down with a book for 15 minutes. I'm going to start devouring books. And so this year, I don't even know how many I've already finished. A couple of books, I don't know. So I don't even keep track of it anymore. It used to be like a really big thing to be like, oh wow, I just finished. This is so embarrassing to say it, but when I was in Argentina, I didn't have access to a lot of good English books. So I did read Pride and Prejudice, and it was a pretty good read. I would not go back and read it all over again. What was her name? The woman who wrote it. I don't even know her name, but I just remember like Darcy and like all those people from that book. So, whatever. It doesn't have to be the perfect book. It's just whatever is around you, whatever you're interested in. Just grab it, sit down 15 minutes at night before you go to bed and try and get into it. Try and read it. Because then you can develop that practical skill where you can just look at a text and understand what someone's telling you, interpret it, and be able to just follow whatever they're talking about. So yeah, that's all it takes. So the real practical advice in this is find something that you're interested in and don't wait for it to be the perfect book, and don't wait until someone asks you to go read it. Just 15 minutes before you go to bed, take the book out and start reading it. You'll find that if you do that more often, you'll develop the habit of just reading. And so maybe you'll turn into someone like me who on the weekends, yeah, I'll sit down for like 2 or 3 hours and I'll just read a book, just finish it, just because it's fun. I used to not be like that. So I know right now it probably sounds very natural, like, oh yeah, that's Evan, that's what he does. He loves to read. But I used to not be like that. I used to just hate reading. I had Tony Hawk's, I don't know, autobiography or whatever. I had Tony Hawk's autobiography sitting on my bookshelf for pretty much my whole entire teenage life, and I never finished it. Right? It was like a Christmas gift, and I never finished it. I still haven't gone back. Maybe that was it. I bet you that was it. It was just such a god awful book that I tried to start reading, and I never got into it. No offense to Tony Hawk, but yeah, I'm sure that book wasn't great. So yeah, I hope that this is like practical advice, and I hope that someone will see that you can go from being a non-reader to being someone who's interested in reading simply by just taking 15 minutes a day, sitting down with a book, and trying to get into it. All right. Hope everyone enjoys this vlog. If you like these little videos about practical advice, I'm always making one Monday through Friday. So like and subscribe and get more content. Take care.